City of Northglenn, Channel 8, keeping you informed of events in your community.
I'd like to call the regular city council meeting to order. Joanna, would you call the roll, please?
Mayor Downing.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Dodge.
Here.
Councilmember Snetzinger. Here. Councilmember Malika.
Here.
Councilmember Sowers. Here. Councilmember Joe Brown.
Here.
Councilmember Becky Brown.
Here.
Councilmember Whitman. Here. Councilmember Escabel.
Here.
Thank you. Would you stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. Are there any additions or deletions from council? Next on the agenda is an interview. Natalie, come on up. And Natalie is interviewing for the Youth Commission. How are you?
I'm good.
Thank you for coming this evening.
It's nice to be here.
Don't be nervous. It's fine. It's good. Okay. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself and also why you would like to join the Youth Commission?
So I am a junior at Northglenn High School. I've gone to Northglenn all 3 years in high school, and I'm really interested in joining the Youth Commission because I want to help out in the community. I want to get more people involved in the community because I feel like the youth just aren't as involved as they should be, and they want to be out there.
Have you had a chance to attend any of the Youth Commission meetings?
Yeah, I've been to a couple.
Have you? And what do you think?
I think it's pretty interesting. I like the dynamic of the group, and I like how they work.
All right. Is there anyone that would like to ask any questions? Yeah.
What can you bring to the Youth Commission?
So I'm very dedicated to wherever I put myself out into. So I can always be there if someone needs me. And then I just really love helping out the community, helping people out who need help. So if we do events in the community, like volunteering or cleaning up, that kind of stuff, I'll always be there to help that. And then I kind of like to lead groups and lead programs and projects. So if we ever need help leading a program or working on a project, I'll always be ready to step up and take charge if it's needed.
Awesome, thank you.
Carol.
Natalie, you've been really involved at the meetings that I've been at. You were real outspoken and involved in the conversation, which was great. Could you tell us about your plans after high school?
After high school, I'd like to go to a four-year college, preferably out of state, so I can just get around the country, see a couple places. And then once that's done, I either go to grad school or start looking at industry. And I'm interested in engineering.
Great, thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, Kim.
Are there any particular ideas or projects that you would like to work on while you're at the Youth Commission?
One thing that's kind of important to me is like the cleanliness of the city and the issue of littering that all cities kind of have, because I feel like how we look to the community and how the city looks, the image is very important, and getting people out and about. I feel like if we could just work on making sure that Northglenn looks the best it can, then the community will be better as a whole.
Thank you. I just had a quick question. So through your application, you're a part of Girls Only Engineering, which is super exciting and cool. What else do you do for fun besides rock climbing?
I love to read. I like to draw sometimes when I have time. I like to swim a lot, and I don't mind running a bit.
Awesome.
Anyone else? Yes, Antonio.
I don't have any questions. I just want to say thank you for your vision and your commitment to serve your community.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming tonight, Natalie. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next we have Margot. Presentation, the logo retirement ceremony.
Mayor, Council, thank you for having me here. We have rebranding and a new logo coming, and that is a big event in the life of a city. And it deserves to be honored with an event, a special event. And that is what we have here tonight. It was created out of respect for the current logo and with excitement toward the new logo. It's an acknowledgement that a change is happening and that the city is committed to it. So I created it for you, for the staff of the city, and for the residents. So here we go. Hope you like it.
Very nice, Margaret. Very nice.
I know. I
Almost tried to make us
too.
cry. Almost did. This is not, well. All right, well, thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right, next on the agenda is public invited to be heard. Anyone here that would like to speak to council for up to 5 minutes, other than for our one public hearing agenda. So is there anyone here that would like to speak to council for up to 5 minutes? Seeing no one run up to the podium, we will move to the consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Second.
Please open the vote.
Vote is open.
Please vote.
We'll close that vote, and the consent agenda passes unanimously.
Thank you. Next is public hearings.
The first one is CB 1877, a bill for an ordinance amending sections 18-2-3 and 18-2-4 of the Northglenn Municipal Code related to liquor licensing.
Thank you. I will now open the public hearing on CB 1877. Is there anyone here that would like to speak either for or against CB 1877? Anyone wish to speak either for or against CB 1877? Seeing no one approach, we'll close the public hearing and we'll move to ordinance to second reading. And I believe it's the same as we just had for the public hearing. Don't think we have to read the title again.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay. Corey, do you want to?
I think this is me. Good evening, Mayor and Council. This ordinance merely brings forward conforming amendments to recent state law changes on the types of liquor licenses. Much of Northglenn's liquor code adopts by reference the state liquor code, so that's why there are so few changes. But these changes are where the new type of license is explicitly identified, and so that's the basis for the changes.
Okay, thank you. Discussion? Hearing none, please open the vote.
The vote is open.
Please vote.
I'll close that vote, and CB 1877 on second reading passes unanimously.
Thank you. Next, we'll move to ordinances first reading.
This is for CB 1878, a bill for a special ordinance amending the 2016 budget, recognizing revenues and appropriating expenditures by supplemental appropriation for the payment of the costs and expenses of the municipal government, agencies, and offices of the City of Northglenn, Colorado for the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2016.
Move to approve.
Second.
Jim?
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. Mr. Loveland's here if you have any detailed questions, but pursuant to the municipal code, we do reappropriations annually. Sometimes we do them quarterly. In this case, we had two major items. Number one was recognizing the revenue from the CDBG fund, which we typically do not get until well after the budget is adopted. And the second one is to increase the expenditures to cover the property purchase that we completed earlier this year west of the Justice Center.
Thank you. Discussion? Hearing none, please open the vote.
The vote is open.
Please vote.
I'll close that vote, and CB 1878 on first reading passes with one no vote cast by Councilmember Snetzinger. And I would like to state for the record that the public hearing on CB 1878 will be held on December 12, 2016, here in City Hall Council Chambers.
Thank you. Next, we'll move to resolutions.
First one is CR 128, a resolution approving the Third Amendment to the agreement between the City of Northglenn and Corey Y. Hoffman, attorney at law.
Move to approve. Second. Okay. Who, Jim or Corey?
I would just comment that this resolution does show support for the agreement, which shows a rate increase of $20 per hour. And so we recommend approval.
Thank you. Discussion.
Oh, I thought it was just $20.
I did.
Per hour.
Per hour, that changes everything now.
I was so willing to vote for it until that.
All right, any other discussion? Hearing none, please open the vote.
The vote is open.
Please vote.
We'll close that vote, and CR 128 passes unanimously.
Thank you. Next is CR 129.
A resolution approving an agreement between the City of Northglenn and Train for the City Hall rooftop unit project.
Move to approve.
Second.
Jim?
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. The City Hall building has an HVAC unit that is, I would say, well beyond its useful life, and we lost one of those units essentially earlier this year. It was going into the fall, and so we didn't bring this in front of you as an emergency at that point, but we'd made some temporary improvements to the lower level of this building to get by until the weather cooled off. But this is absolutely a need for the building, and so we are recommending approval of an ordinance, of a resolution that would allow us to contract with Train for a new City Hall HVAC unit in the amount of $70,728.34, with some additional 10% contingency on there. And this is from the bid process that we used through U.S. Communities, and we belong to that. So we did not go out to an RFP, but used the normal bid process through a third party. We did go ahead and get a bid for 2 units in the hopes that maybe the second unit would be economical enough for us to replace that now. But we're going to wait on that one, and we're just recommending approval of 1 unit at this point.
Can you get by with just one?
Well, in all honesty, the second unit does need to be replaced, but it is still operational. So I actually had extensive discussions with Mr. Kisselman as well as David Willett today. And, we may be facing an emergency next year if it breaks down in the middle of the summer. We'll have to deal with it at that point. But try to be cognizant of the budget, frankly, the civic campus and the lifespan of this building. We want to just make the necessary improvements at this point.
Thanks, Jay. Discussion? Kim?
I'd like to know before, well, I guess it would have been nice to know before we approved this, what other repairs are necessary on the building? I know we have a lot of different issues with it, mold and different things. I would like to know what the process is and how we're going to address some of those other issues that, for me, are health and safety concerns. We've known about those for quite some time, and we've done nothing about it that I'm aware of. So I really would like to have that information. And I don't think we'll be doing anything with this building for many years to come. I know we're looking at the plans and trying to come up with something, but right now we already have other projects that are in the works that are going to take quite a while. So I would be in favor of replacing both units if we know the other one's going to fail anyways.
Thank you, Kim. Anyone else?
I actually felt the same way about it when I read it, that I would do the two at the same time.
So can we get some kind of a discount if we purchase both of them?
$1,500 off the second unit is what we got as the quote. And we could amend the resolution tonight, right, to put in a different dollar amount. So if council wants to go down that road, I would say that we would use the total amount for both and then add 10% to that for a contingency amount.
How does the rest of council feel about it?
I'd be in favor.
Okay.
Favor as long as we have the money available to us in the budget.
As well.
And we have enough to cover everything without hurting any other projects or anything else, so.
Well, to Councilmember Snetzinger's point, and part of my discussion I had this morning, and the people that were in that meeting will vouch for this, I'm concerned that we have a lot of deferred maintenance, and our facilities team does an outstanding job of getting by with what we have and trying to make repairs as they come up. But I voice the same concerns, is that I would like to understand what some of the reasonable life is of some of these major equipment, namely HVAC, water and sewer pumps, backup generators. Those seem to be the big ticket items, not to mention the roof and the things like that we have with all these buildings. So we're confident that we're going to need 2 units. I would support where you're going in approving both of them tonight. But we probably need to take a harder look at this long-term and developing a plan and setting aside the appropriate amount of money in the budget annually.
All right, yes?
No, I'm just going to say, fix it when it's broke. If it's not broke, one is good enough. Just why take a perfectly good unit right now and replace it, because you know it may break down one day. When it breaks down, we fix it or replace it.
That's a very good distinction, because I would say right now, it's absolutely not a perfectly good unit. In fact, it could go really any time. And my concern was that if it goes in the summertime, we might have a long lead time to get it replaced.
I guess that was going on the premise that that's what you requested, and you wanted to get work within our means.
Right.
And so now it looks like we don't have the same means anymore, like they just got expanded.
One is down now, one is working. That's a factual statement. And that we could afford to replace both. We can make that work.
That's my 2 cents.
Marcy?
I guess just for staff, it would be great if that was included. That was a question I brought up, and I know you got with David on it. I just think it would be helpful, because when we see that there's 2 units and then you're suggesting one, it just kind of made me wonder why we were only doing one. But if there's that borderline where you feel like, but you're trying to be conservative, then I'd say put it out to council and let us kind of make that choice, but tell us that it's about to die. And we know that. Some of us here in council sat in cold chambers at one point, and we sat in burning hot chambers one time. So I think there's a lot of truth in that it's about to crap out.
Antonio, were you? I saw your hand going up again. Okay, Carol.
I think that if we don't replace both units, the unit that is working right now is going to be overworked while we're getting that second unit replaced. As soon as we get the second unit in there, the first one that we leave is just going to break right down.
Is it an upstairs, downstairs kind of thing? Is one unit heating the upstairs, one heating the downstairs?
That's my understanding, and the one that broke was the downstairs one. And as you know, half of this building is subterranean, and so part of it really wasn't an issue, but where it really was an issue was kind of on the north side in records. That became a challenge in the fall when it was pretty warm some of those days.
Okay, Carol?
We've just been around here long enough that we know that upstairs has issues. So I've seen enough space heaters in people's work areas. So it just seems to me like we do them both at the same time. That's it.
Okay. Jordan?
I just had a question. So you didn't put an RFP out. What website do you use, or how did you track this organization, or through competitive bidding?
So I may have Kent come up and explain this, but we have a purchasing agreement with U.S. Communities, and so what U.S. Communities will do, just like a state bid, they'll go out and get the best pricing they can, kind of volume pricing, and then we're able to participate because of our membership in that group.
Okay.
So that does meet our procurement policy as an approved method.
Awesome. Thank you.
Joe?
So the price is still good?
Yes, sir.
I wondered
The
that. too.
proposal is valid for 30 days from September 9th.
Exactly. That was going to be my next question.
I'm looking at the Public Works representative. Is that still good?
With the 10% contingency, we'll verify that, but it should still be good.
Okay. Or anyone else?
Yeah, I have one more. When will this work actually be done?
As soon as possible. I mean, we want to get it done before the spring when it starts to get warm again, so.
Okay, and how long will it take?
That I do not know.
Okay.
I'm going to make you come up, Ken. I'm sorry.
Well, I was looking because there's supposed to be a schedule. Article 19 is the schedule, and I didn't see any schedules or timing, so just curious.
Good evening. We believe that it's going to be 3 or 4 months to get the units in, and then installation will be completed by the trained dealer. This won't be done by our staff. So it'll be a while.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Anyone else?
And this covers heating and air conditioning?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Anyone else? Thank you. All right. Please open, so the consensus is then we need to have an amendment to include both of them, or how would you want to do that, Cory? Or do we just get a friendly to add?
So if you're looking at section 1 of the resolution, of course I shut my phone off, sorry. My calculator on me here. The resolution then, the first number would be $139,956.68 with a 10% contingency, which would be $13,995.67, and then for a total of whatever those two numbers add up to.
All right, so we'll just, okay, Kyle.
I was under the assumption, though, that if we went with the second
You get a discount?
unit, yeah, you get a $1,500.
Well, it's in there.
It's in there.
Is it already
Yeah,
accounted
it's
for?
already in there.
Yeah.
So we probably need a number to insert in there.
I don't remember who made the motion in the second. Mayor Pro Tem Dodge made the motion, and Councilmember Mullica seconded.
Okay, so we can do a friendly for that.
So Becky?
My concern lays with the fact that the document's outdated. The thing that we're approving with the dollar amount on it is outdated. So now we have Kent who's going to go back and he's going to see if that pricing is still good. Why am I approving this money now if we don't even know if it's good?
Jim? Ken?
What's the harm in having 2 weeks to approve it at the next regular meeting?
We absolutely can. I mean, we have a regular meeting next week, too. We could bring it
Then
back
next
next week.
Why don't we do
If
that?
it would make you feel more comfortable to verify that the pricing is still good. I did hear from Mr. Kisselman that we believe the 10% contingency will cover it. So it's whatever you're comfortable with. If you want to approve it tonight, or we can bring it back in a week or two.
If you do that, you're not going to have your 10% contingency if it goes over. and you'll be coming to us?
We've been working with Sam, who's the procurement on here, the entire time. So, again, it's a matter of, we don't have the actual quote. We've been working for this for some time. We should have updated the quote, but Sam was going to be here tonight, to represent, but unfortunately he's not here. So he hasn't told us that there's any change in the price. I don't expect to be, but if you want to push it off to next time, then we certainly can do that.
Why don't we table it until next Monday? That would be our next regular council meeting or special meeting, right?
Yes.
And you'll have all the information. Can you have all the information by next week?
I'll just get an updated quote.
Thank you.
And a change of date. The date, September to whatever.
Yeah, that would be the updated quote.
Okay, all right. All right.
That'll give us an opportunity to update the resolution as well. That number that I was struggling with is $153,952.35.
Right.
So we'll update the resolution the next week as well.
Okay. So I would move to table this resolution until whatever the date is next Monday. What is it?
The 5th.
The 5th. Do I hear a second? Kim, did you?
Yeah.
Okay. Please open the vote.
The vote is open.
Please vote.
I'll close that vote, and the motion to table CR 129 passes unanimously.
Thank you. Next resolution is CR 130.
A resolution granting an easement to Public Service Company of Colorado for gas service to the wastewater treatment plant headworks and operations building.
Move to approve.
Second. Thank you, Mayor. Members of council. So as you know, the city's currently underway with the expansion of a wastewater treatment plant. I should say redevelopment of it, the planning cycle improvements that we're doing. There's 5 elements of the project which are shown in the memo. The long story short of this resolution is that XL needs to construct a gas line to provide service to the new facility, and so they need a 3,300 linear foot easement to get the service line to the facility. And so this resolution would be to allow them to move forward with the project and grant them the easement. So we recommend approval.
Thank you. Discussion? Hearing none, please open the vote.
Vote is open.
Please vote.
I'll close that vote, and CR 130 passes unanimously.
Thank you. Next is Resolution 131.
A resolution reinforcing that the City of Northglenn and its police department do not enforce federal immigration laws against individuals who have not committed criminal acts.
Move to approve.
Second.
Kyle, do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, I spoke about it a little bit at the study session last week. For everyone who was there and who wasn't, I had the opportunity a couple weeks ago to go speak to an ESL class, Miss Fillmore's class at Malley Drive Elementary, and talk to them a little bit about what Northglenn as a city does and what the role of city council is, and the political climate and politics and the election all came up, and the kids started asking me questions, and the fear in their eyes, is really indescribable when they started talking about immigration and whatnot. And I shared that one student actually asked me if I even liked people from Mexico, and it really did break my heart and made me, ask myself what we could do as a community to make sure that these students feel safe and protected, that their families feel safe and protected, and that all of our community members and residents feel safe within our community. And so I worked with staff on coming up with this resolution to try to ensure that we get the message out to our community that you're valued, that we want you to feel safe and welcome, and that we don't want you to be afraid that somebody's, that with these students, that somebody's going to come kick down their door and take their parents away, or be afraid to call 911 because of your immigration status. I just think this is the right thing for the city to do, and to ensure that really our community members feel welcome and safe in our community. So that's where this is.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, please open the vote.
The vote is open.
Please vote.
I'll close that vote, and CR 131 passes unanimously.
Thank you. The next item is a discussion item concerning the Ralston House design. I don't see David, so.
I'm going to cover it tonight.
All right.
So there's a memo here, and in the same style as the Justice Center, we think monthly updates on this project are important. The first page is really a summary from the October update, but I thought it was relevant to include it here. But I really would reference the second page, which is the true update for the last 30 days. November 9th, we had a meeting with all the participating jurisdictions, all the municipal parties that are party to the IGA. And we spent a lot of time on the meeting talking about a deed restriction on the property, so it would always be used for the Ralston House, the timing of the DOLA grant that we're going to be applying for, the timing of payments from the jurisdictions, and then lease and maintenance provisions between Northglenn and the Ralston House. The parties did agree to revise the IGA. I actually got that out to everybody before Thanksgiving. We do have another meeting scheduled for December 14th to try to finalize the language. And the goal is really to have all the elected officials take some action on this in January. So I've included a draft in this packet, which includes 3 exhibits. The legal description, pretty straightforward. Exhibit B, which is the cost split, which is really the biggest point of contention with all the jurisdictions. And then the third piece was, I think that was the draft deed restriction that Mr. Hoffman put together. We've had some requests from the cities to include a lease as part of the IGA. I've made the affirmative statement that we're not going to execute a lease until we have a building built. That would be kind of premature. So we'll see how it goes on the 14th. I think the big thing a lot of the cities want to see is just that we're going to maintain it as a child advocacy center, which is our commitment, and we're willing to put that in a deed restriction. We're willing to put that into the lease, but I don't think they necessarily need to see the lease as part of the IGA. The one comment I would make about the DOLA grant that happened just today since I drafted this, the original deadline was December 1st. There is approximately $18 million of energy impact grants available statewide. It's very competitive, but we're going to be applying for a $500,000 grant. We just learned today that they're combining the December 1st process and the April 1st process, so there's 3 per year, but they're combining the next 2 into 1, and there's only $12 million available.
And when is it?
And they changed the date now to February 1st.
Okay, so it gives you a little more leeway.
We were ready to go this week with the application anyway. David and his team have been working with Don Mosley pretty extensively to get it done. Okay. My big question I have into DOLA right now is, does that change the award date? Because we were hoping for an award April 1st, negotiate a contract which can take 4 to 6 weeks, and then break ground in May. If this spills into the summertime, we may lose our window this year to build it. But we're going to keep pressing on with the IGA, keep pressing on with the applications, and as soon as we get the IGA done, it enables Mr. Mosley then to go out and truly show he has a partnership agreement in place to get other grant funding, Betcher Foundation, Gates Foundation, and so forth. So we're excited. I think the big thing is that the building is coming along. It's under budget. We reduced the size a little bit to get it below 5,000 square feet, because that is a big distinction with the DOLA grant. So we're at 4997. We lost a couple hundred square feet. Mr. Mosley, I think, is okay with that, so we're finalizing those design documents still right now. So that's the update. I'm open to any questions.
Okay, questions?
Boy, they put the big squeeze on us, huh? Combining the two and then taking, what, $6 million off?
Yeah. Mr. Sandoval, our representative, said it used to be north of 30 million each cycle when gas was $3-4 a gallon. And so it's a direct impact of lower energy prices in terms of what the state gets as an opportunity to give out.
So was the $18 million spread out over the 3 cycles, or was it $18 million per cycle?
The number he gave us last month was he thought it was going to be $18 million for the December cycle.
Oh, just for the December.
And now he's combined 2, and so instead of 36 million available, there's 12 million available.
In case we miss the window, is there some way that Don Mosley could write other grants or pursue other avenues so we don't miss, trying to build this year?
Absolutely. That's an important distinction with the way the IGA is crafted right now is
Okay.
that we couldn't have 100% funding commitment from all the cities,
Right.
because then we would go to these grant funders and they'd say, well, you don't need our money.
Right.
We're already, so a lot of the cities said, well, let's commit to a 75% contribution level, which would put us about 350,000 short. Once Don has that IGA in place, then he can go to those various foundations and try to get the balance of it made up, even if we don't get the DOLA grant. The other thing we're writing in there is that the parties agree to come back to the table to fill the gap. If the grant funding doesn't come through, we agree to come back to the table. The downside with that, it's probably a 2018 project if that happens.
Okay. Any other discussion or comments? Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I'm just hoping it'll move forward without any glitches. And we've been working on this for a long time now. All right, next is communications. So Antonio, you want to start?
I have nothing, thank you.
Okay, Marcy.
I'm looking forward to Noel Northglenn this weekend, Friday night, so I'm hoping that the snow holds out for us. I saw it was going to be really cold on Friday, so just bundle up, come inside. The Northglenn Community Foundation will be selling pizza, water, and sodas, so stop by and say hello.
I have nothing.
I want to remind everybody that Tuesday, December 6th is Colorado Gives Day, where you can go online and donate to all types of organizations. I mean, they probably have thousands of them on there, but one of ours, the Northglenn Arts and Humanities Foundation, is on there. So if you would like to add that as one of your organizations to donate to, they would appreciate the funding. So we're just glad that they got on that this year, and yes, please go on. There's a lot of great organizations that need help, so that's it.
So, to add on to that, Colorado Gives Day, if also the Ralston House is on there. You know, so I just thought I would put that plug in if maybe you want to do both. You know, that'd be great. I had actually forgotten about that, you know, so great. The only other thing I'll mention is over the weekend I attended the Hmong New Year celebration. They always hold that in November, and it's always a really fun event. You know, they're in their traditional garb, and they have the dances, and it's just a lot of fun. You know, so it's on me.
I'm fine.
Yeah, in addition to Noel Northglenn, we'll be out there this weekend. Thank you, Margot, for the great video. It's exciting to see a new logo come through the city. That's all that I have.
I have a couple things. We as a legislative committee met this afternoon with our new lobbyist, and so we're actively working on a policy statement for the city of Northglenn, and we should be bringing it to the council as a whole on the December 19th meeting, is that correct? And so that should be pretty exciting, and getting to work on that and being proactive down at the Capitol. So be on the lookout for that. And then I just want to, for Council Resolution 131, I just want to thank Council. I think it's one of the neater things that we've done as a council since I've been here. And I'm definitely going to pass this along to Ms. Fillmore's class, and have the students know that they really had an impact on the city and what we're doing as a city. And so thank you everyone for doing that, and thank you Corey for drafting that up. I think it's a good thing that we're doing for our community.
Kim?
So I was just looking up the Ralston House, and we're doing the Energy Impact Grant, and the website, the Division of Local Government website, it just went away on me, sorry about that, says that the hearings will be conducted in May, so that will affect everything. That's what it usually takes a while to get everything going, so yeah. And then they wouldn't get an award letter out probably for a couple of weeks, and then an actual contract for the grant award usually takes up to 60 days.
That's consistent with the timeframes that Don told us, that with a December 1st cycle, we were hoping for a March public hearing, so by pushing it 2 months, they've just added 2 months. So we'll regroup and figure out what this means, but we're going to press on with the IGA for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Thanks for checking that,
Thank you.
Kim.
yeah, I knew where to go.
Yep.
I have nothing else, thank you.
All right, good. Okay, Joanna?
I have nothing tonight, Mayor.
All right, Jim?
Just a couple things. Big events on Saturday. I think they were mentioned at a prior meeting, but the Bison sculpture dedication at
Right.
Stonehawker, 10:30 on Saturday. And then SCL is having their community event from noon to 4 on Saturday, and I believe we're doing a ribbon cutting at 1 o'clock. So a full day, at least full morning here on Saturday. The other thing I want to mention, we've had some discussions about what December looks like in terms of meetings. We, of course, are going to have our special meeting next week, but it's really going to be more of a study session because it's a study session night as well. So we really only have a couple things on the special meeting, which is the youth commission appointment resolution, as well as exec sessions for council employees. But then we have several items that we wanted to talk about in study session, which would be 104th and I-25 monument sign, the website redesign project, we want to bring that back for more discussion, water treatment plant lab fees, and also want to talk about the Westminster tank site, which is up near the Justice Center, between the Justice Center and the Berry property. So David and his team have been working on that. And we will need to have a study session December 19th as well. So we do have 3 full meetings in December.
Thank you. Corey?
I just wanted to personally thank council for approving Council Resolution 128. It is an honor and a privilege to serve as your city attorney, so thank you.
You're welcome.
You should be giving us a huge discount.
$20 discount.
Too late.
It's all
$20 an hour.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
We love you too, Corey.
Thanks, Corey.
Thank you.
All right, next is public invited to be heard. Anyone like to speak to council for up to 3 minutes? Seeing no one approach, we are adjourned.